Hello, welcome to this interview. My name is Kathy Harriets, and I am the principal at New Beginnings Elementary.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Intervan. I
Yes, I'm here.
understand you are coming for an interview for our teacher position we have available.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you for coming. Um, First of all, I would like to ask you to tell me about yourself. What can you tell me about yourself?
Okay, so I am going into my fifth year as teaching. So far, I've been on one campus, and I was looking for a different type of environment. So that's why I applied for this position. My areas of strength are in science, but I am able to adapt and I'm able to adapt and learn new things. So I'm very well, specifically at third grade science. I'm familiar with the resource STEM scopes, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you mentioned the resource STEM Scopus because that's the same resource we use in here. And it sounds like you had a good experience teaching science at your school. Okay. My next question is, well, before that, um, what grade do you teach? I don't know you mentioned. What grade
um,
did you teach before?
Sorry, could you repeat that again? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Sorry, what grade do you teach?
Oh, I've taught third grade for 3 years, and then I taught second grade after that.
Okay, good. So you
So,
got
but I've
experience in.
also
Go
yes,
ahead.
I've also helped participate in. I've also helped with setting the fifth grade science fair. So I'm also familiar with fifth grade and fourth grade because fourth grade also had to participate in that.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds interesting. Um, what kind of program do you use for the science fair? I'm just curious.
We liked it. We honestly just pulled. So it was a group of five different science teachers. So we used STEMscope for one, and then I know some other teachers brought stuff from the what's it called? It's Penguin Science Penguin,
Okay.
and that helps. That's specifically for those star testing grades.
No, that sounds really good. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Okay. My next question. Why do you believe you are the best candidate for this position?
Well, I'm not the best science teacher, but I'm very effective and I'm a fast learner. So I'm determined. I know that if you give me the curriculum and I have the time to look over it and get the proper resources needed, that I'm able to successfully teach that to the students. So I'm very familiar with science, and like I said, it's my area of strength overall any other subject. So I think I'm a good person for this position because of my knowledge in science.
That's really good. Okay. And it's important that you know the subject that you're teaching, that you're very familiar with it. So that's good. Okay. Can you describe your teaching style?
Yes, so I like to make my classroom into independent learners. So we might start off in the beginning of the school year where I'm guiding them, almost kind of like, I don't want to say holding their hand, but I'm the one mostly guiding them to kind of get them used to that routine. And then towards the um, I would say after the first month and a half of classroom, whenever the beginning of the school year has started, I like to start allowing them that chance to start trying to do stuff independently. So my goal is by December, or honestly before then, but most of the time it happens like around December, where they start that routine is in place, and they're able to come into class. I'm able to write their stuff on the board, or give them a list of things that needs to happen that day, and they automatically pick up and they know what to do. So my teaching style, I would say, is very independent. I like to create independent learners. I don't like to have to hold their hand because I like autonomy within the classroom. So they need to be able to teach. If they're able to teach each other, then that tells me that they know the subject. that tells me that they actually learned it. So I teach it to them, and then they are required to go around and teach it to each other. And if they're able to successfully teach it to each other, then that shows me that that student has learned it.
Okay, that's very good. And yes, that's what we want, right? We want students to not only grasp the concept, but also be able to teach it to another student, right? So
Mhm.
that's good. I like your teaching style.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I would like to know, how do you manage the behavior in the classroom?
So I like to implement, I don't know if you ever heard of champs.
Mhm.
Okay, so I like to implement champs. So for every activity that I have, even if it's little things, especially towards the beginning of the year when you're starting setting that routine, even if it's little things like coming to the rug and you're going to sit down and you're going to listen for 5 to 7 minutes while we're reading over this book, I go over my champs. So I tell them, okay, while you're at the rug, your conversation's a zero. Um, your If you need help, what do you do? And by then they should know. Will you raise your hand? Activity. We know that this is a group work. We're doing this all together on the rug. Movement. While we're on the rug, you're not going to be talking, getting up to go throw away trash. Save those until the 7 minutes are up. And usually I set a timer on the board so the students know, okay, when that timer's up, I know that I'm allowed to get up if I need to. Participation, that one is very important because a lot of them will just sit there, and so participation to me is very important. So I tell them, while we're at the rug, you're going to show me that you're participating by listening, answering, and asking questions if you have any. And then at the end we tell them, if we do all of this, we'll have success. So that's been what I've used over the past couple years, and it's been very successful within my classroom. um, so that's what I like to implement in my classroom.
Okay, that's good. And at New Beginnings, we also use the CHAMPS behavioral charts, and they're very successful with the students. And so like you said, is complete repetition, right? The student have to see it constantly, so they will practice it and know it and learn it. So that's good. Okay, my next question. What aspects of your previous role did you enjoy the most?
Okay, so what I love most about teaching science was that it's people like to say that science is the fun subject, and I agree with that because it doesn't require you having to sit still the entire time. So my thing has always been, if your classroom is quiet and you're in a science class, something's not going right, because in a science classroom there should be a lot of noise because students should be experimenting and forming hypotheses and being in a group work. When you're in a group work, you're not quiet. So the thing that I enjoyed most about my previous position was the fact that it wasn't like a regular classroom. I felt like it was more of the classroom they loved to be at, because they knew that this wasn't a class they were going to be sitting at the entire time. This was a class that they're going to be getting up, moving around, working with groups, talking with partners, teaching each other. So that's what I really did enjoy the most about my previous position.
That's good. And I understand you have a lot of experience teaching science. Will you be open to teaching any other subject besides science?
Yes, I am. I've taught. I mean, I wasn't a self-contained science teacher. It's just the subject that I enjoyed the most. But I've also taught ELAR. I've taught social studies. So I've taught multiple other subjects as well.
Okay, good. That's good to know. Okay, my next question. How do you handle disagreement with coworkers? Because as you know, we don't get along all the time, right? There is different people with different personalities. So how would you handle a disagreement with a coworker or a team member?
I feel like this one's a little bit challenging because, like you said, it depends on the person that you're
Yes.
working with. Um, I like to normally just handle, especially if it's something little. Maybe they said something that offended me, or I said something that offended them. I like to first go and talk to them about it, But like I said, that also has to, it also depends on the type of personality that that person has as well. So I like to try to handle it first myself. And if I know that it's a coworker that I we just butt heads too much and there's just no way that we're going to be able to sit there and talk to each other, I like to bring in a third party, preferably the principal or the assistant principal, to be able to kind of help facilitate that form of discussion, because don't like to have I don't like to feel like I have conflict with somebody, especially in my team, because I feel like that kind of dwarfs the culture of your team. And so that's what I prefer to do. I don't know. I try to handle it first myself, and if it doesn't work, then I seek a third party, like I said, the principal or assistant principal.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, so now that was no, hold on. I think I got one more question for you. Yes, my last question. Um, one second. For some reason this move. Tell me about a lesson that you uh tell me about teaching a lesson that didn't go as planned, and what do you learn from it? Because as educators, sometimes our lessons don't go the way we project that it will go. So can you tell me about one time this happened to you? That you taught a lesson but it didn't went the way you expected it to go.
Give me a second. I have to think about this one.
Okay,
I
yes.
know I have one. I need to think about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh,
Yeah.
about a time that I planned a lesson that didn't go.
And sometimes
Mm,
this has to do not only um it has to do sometimes with the students. Maybe they were not grasping it, and maybe you had a student that was misbehaving and kind of threw off your lesson plan. Um,
uh, I know I've had multiple lessons that, especially in reading, that I was excited for, and it just, the students were just not having it. And it normally, oh, I can think of one time I read a book. I was excited about this reading lesson, and I was introducing. We were talking about genres, and I was introducing this new book, and I was excited about it, telling the students all week. This was on a Friday. I was telling the students all week that we're gonna read this book. I even showed it to them. I got them excited about it, and when I started reading it to them, these students could not relate to the book. And after, I would say after probably the first 3 pages of the book, I kind of lost them. So they couldn't relate to it because it hadn't it was kind of difficult. It was called the blue tarp school or something like that. And so the book was about the students having to understand that it was this different type of culture where they didn't have a lot of finances. It was a poor country, so the students would have school on a blue tarp. So the book was called Blue Tarp School because the tarp was the school. Well, I completely forgot. I just assumed that the students would know what a tarp was, and I did not explain that to the students what a tarp was. So the entire time they were lost, and they were asking each other, and I could see it amongst themselves. And during the lesson, that they were asking, "What's a tarp? What's a tarp? I don't know what a tarp is. Why is this book called the Blue Tarp School?" So yeah, I had completely lost them, and then I had to try again the following Monday. And when I tried it again the following Monday, it worked because prior to reading that book, I actually brought a blue tarp to the class, and I showed the students. I let them feel it and show them that this was a tarp, from the book that we had read on Friday, or tried to read on Friday. I showed them that this was a tarp, so we pulled it out and we sat on it, and then the students they were able to relate to it. But that lesson did not go as planned at all, and I probably made it a good 3 minutes into the lesson.
okay. So, and I'm just paraphrasing from what you told me. So basically, what you learn from this is always assess the prior knowledge and try to introduce uh, unknown concepts, correct?
Yes,
Yes,
yes. You can't
yeah,
assume that students know everything. That students know what you know because, we have experience, we're older than them. And
yeah.
that was where I messed up. I had assumed that they knew what a tarp was.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, so I think this is my last question. So now I would like to tell you the goals for this position. So what do we basically expect? What are our goals to fill out this position? So the first one is for the candidate is to provide students with appropriate learning activities in design for subjects. So like you were talking about science, and you were telling me that you believe that a science classroom cannot be quiet because there is a lot of hypotheses, group work, and experimenting, conducting experiments. And you are correct. So depending on the subject, that's what the activities have to be designed, right? According to the core subject. Um, the next thing is assist students to fulfill their potential for intellectual, emotional, physical, and social development. So in this one, basically what this means is we're not only just teaching them to pass the grade, we also need to help them develop emotionally, socially, and physically, right? We need to teach them how to create friendships, develop those friendships. We need to teach them good citizenship skills that they will learn. And we also, as educators, and I call myself we because I was a teacher before I was a principal, and I guess I'm still a teacher, right? So emotional, basically, you have to be open to, yes, you are not a social worker, but in a way, teachers wear many hats, right?
Hmm.
Students might come to you and they will open up to you with emotional issues if they trust you. So with emotional, the trust go hand in hand. They have to be able to feel like you care, like they can trust you so they can open up to you. And then you can help them and give them the uh, assistance they need or direct them to the correct person for help, correct?
Hmm.
The next one is provide opportunities for students to develop skills to become productive members of society. And again, in this, you see it with not only with reading, but you see it in all these subjects, right? All the subjects, they have to collaborate with each other. They have to learn how to work in group. They also will develop skills, communication skills that they need to be able to effectively communicate and work together. So, and as you know, these are skills that once they grow up, they're also gonna need. Okay, they never stop needing these skills. So our
Hmm.
goal is to raise good, productive members of society.
And I feel like that is a lot of that has to do with problem solving, having them
Yes,
figuring out um, their own problems, how to solve their own problems. Because I know that I have had issues with students where they're wanting to raise their hand and tattle for the littlest thing, and or
yeah,
saying, "Miss Devon, my pencil's not sharpened," instead of getting up and going to sharpen their pencil.
yeah.
So I feel like a lot of that has to do with creating students who can problem solve. They need to be able to figure out how to solve their own problems.
And that is an effective skill that they will need later on as they grow older. And like you said, you thought second and third grade, that's the age when they are practicing their problem solving skills. And some of them might be more successful at it, but we still need to guide them. Um, now, so that's our objective, right? As every educator, that should be our objective. Now, I would like to review with you the major responsibilities of a teacher. And I'm assuming you saw this in the application process, but I would like to review it with you because a lot of uh, a lot of applicants don't necessarily pay attention to the application. They just fill it out, and then they're kind of surprised when they're assigned a certain duty. They're like, "Well, this is not in my job description," but it is. So let me go over them, and I will explain a little bit.
Okay.
So the first one is, and this is for instructional strategies. First one is develop and implement lesson plans aligned with our district curriculum, which did you say you were in the same district or did you come from another district? I forgot.
I think we're in the same district from,
New
well, I
beginnings.
don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, good. So you are familiar with the curriculum. Like you were talking, you use a lot of STEM scopes for science, and we use it to, you also use the CHAMPS behavioral curriculum, we use it too. So you're very familiar with that. So that's good. So I don't have to explain it. You are familiar with preparing lesson plans that reflect accommodations for difference in students' learning. Like, as you understand, not all the students learn the same way. Some of them learn by reading, others learn by listening, others learn by doing. So you understand how to do that. The
Yeah.
third one
Question.
is, go ahead.
Okay. Well, what type of lessons? I know each campus has their own format of lesson plans.
Okay.
What type of lesson plans does your campus require?
Yes, we use the backwards design, and I don't know if you're familiar with the backwards design.
I've heard about it, but I'm not really familiar with it.
Okay, the backwards design basically, you basically you create the assignment, the assessment before you also actually start planning for the lesson. So you know exactly what you need to teach every day to get the students prepared for that assessment.
Oh,
Example, and they go by units. So let's say unit 1. So you know the students for reading, they're going to be assessed on um, on poetry. So the whole assessment is gonna be with components of poetry, correct? So you know you have to break down those components of poetry and teach it throughout the unit to get the students prepared. It also covers the unit vocabulary that students need to be familiar with and understand it to be successful. And it will help you create activities that will allow the students to practice those skills. Am I explaining myself?
yes. Is it like a daily lesson plan?
It's a daily lesson plan. The only difference with it is that before teachers didn't create the assessment until at the end of of the unit.
Mm-hmm.
So by then it's kind of like too late because you didn't look at what was included in that assessment until the end. Now the teachers are looking at the assessment before they start teaching the unit. So they know exactly what material they need to cover. So the students will be ready and prepared to take that assessment.
So they're starting with the end in mind, kind
Yes,
of.
yes,
They're
yes,
starting. Okay. Okay, I
yes,
understand.
yes, backwards basically. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And number 3 is present subject matter according to guidelines established by TEA, Texas Board of Education, and the administrative regulations. So basically, we are following the TICS, right? We are using the TICS to teach these skills and the objectives the students need to learn. Number 4 is plan and use appropriate instructional and learning strategies, activities, material, and equipment. And you have experience teaching, so you know how to plan your lessons using the correct strategies, activities, and material. And equipment, like in the case of science, you know what kind of equipment you need for um for each activity. The next one is conduct assessments of student learning that use results to plan instructional activities. Next one is work collaborative with special education. And this is for the IEP. You're going to have in your classroom some students that receive a special education services. So you need to be familiar with their IEP and know how to accommodate them, how to modify their curriculum to meet their needs. And this is in according to the individual student, right? Some students might have you shorten their assignment and so on. So this is according to their individual IEP. The next one is collaborate with other members or staff to determine instructional goals, objectives, and methods according to district. And this goes like you can collaborate with other science teachers, or you can collaborate with your team teachers to see how what are you using, what kind of expectations, and how are these goals, these strategies are um, reaching the objective that you desire, right? The students' outcome. And this one for it's mostly for kinder and pre-kinder because third, second grade don't have teacher aides, but this one is to supervise and assign teacher aides. However, um, and sometimes you might be asked to become a mentor teacher to one of the student teachers. So it's your duty also to uh, supervise them, right? And help them. You also know how to use the technology to strengthen the teaching and learning process. In here, every student has a device. For second and third grade, they're using the Chromebooks. And every classroom is equipped with a smart board. Also, the teachers will receive a personal computer. So this is the kind of technology this is talking about. So you're gonna be familiar with using the technology to help you support teaching.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, I was actually surprised to hear that y'all have one-to-one devices because I know at my
Yes.
last campus we didn't have. We had to share one Chromebook for that. I think the Chromebook had like 20, 20 Chromebook. The Chromebook cart had 20 Chromebooks in it, and we had to share it with four teachers.
Oh goodness. Yes. This campus, we started assigning a one-on-one device to students about 2 years ago, but we were in the same kind of situation. Before 2 years ago, four teachers have to share the same uh, device card, and it created some issues between teachers not willing to share. So our district received a bond, and they were able to provide devices for all students, which is really good. Teachers seem to like it, and the kids do too. So it's working perfectly, and it's helping us with our teaching strategies. It's helping the students learn better. So we like it. Okay, the next one is a student growing development. Support student in developing comprehension and learning habits. Conduct frequent student assessments through formal and informal testing. And this is where your quizzes and tests, unit tests, district tests, essential standards, CBAs. Participate in extracurricular activities as assigned. Sponsor outside activities approved by the campus principal. This one, You are not required to participate, but it's always welcome that you participate. We do extra activities throughout the year. For example, in October, we have a fall festival. Um, and it's really good for the kids. We have a lot of booths, and the teachers dressed up as their favorite character, a book character, and the kids can too. But we need a lot of help. We have to monitor the students and sometimes the parents too. So we do encourage, yeah, we do. We do encourage that all teachers participate. Like I said, we don't require it, but we encourage. We also have a Valentine celebration where our upper grades have like a dance, and we always are asking for chaperones. We need to monitor them. And every time we have extracurricular activities, we need sponsors, we need teachers to monitor the student, help them to keep safe, right? We want them to have fun, but we also want them to follow the rules and be safe. So, like I said, we don't require, I know there's some schools that actually require their teachers to participate on every extracurricular activity. We don't, because we understand you have a life outside school, but we encourage you to participate anyway. Besides those activities, we have our GT um, group for the UIL, and that's going to be later on in the year. And our UIL coordinator will seek teachers to help prepare students for the events. That one, and also we provide after school tutorial for students that are in danger of failing. The UIL and the after school tutorial, those are paid. The teachers will receive compensation if they choose to participate in those. And again, they're not required, but they are strongly encouraged. We also uh, want the teachers to be positive role models for the students. And a role model will support and promote the campus vision and mission. Um, because they're watching you. I mean, no matter whatever you do, the attitude you have, they kind of pick on that. If you are not getting along with a coworker, students pick on that. Oh, my teacher doesn't like so and so, so I'm not gonna like so and so, and that kind of creates friction in the campus. So we always need to be mindful that they're watching us and they are paying attention to everything we do and say. So I require the teachers to be a positive role model for all the students, even if they're not in your classroom. Okay, classroom management. Uh, Create classroom environment conducive to learning and appropriate for physical, social, and emotional development of students. And again, that's the classroom culture. Um, and that's where CHAMPS or your behavioral management and your routines take place. Okay. Manage student behavior in accordance with student code of conduct and handbook. Take all necessary and reasonable precautions to protect students, equipment, materials, and facility. On this one, I'm going to explain a little bit. We do have an emergency plan for the campus. We do fire drills, lockdowns, lockups, and tornado drills. And those, we will let you know, let the teachers know when we're gonna have a drill. But it's important that the teachers understand their responsibility during the drills and explain it to the students how to behave during each drill, so we will keep on safe. And about to protect equipment, materials, and facility, basically, we require all the teachers to keep their doors locked at all times. If myself or any other person from my leadership team needed to go into the classrooms, we have keys. So we ask all the teachers to keep the door locked. And also, and this is just kind of like my suggestion, but I think it works. Don't allow students to open the doors because I know they don't look to the window. The window might be high. They cannot see who's outside, and they will just open the door because somebody is knocking. I've seen teachers asking even kindergartners, "Oh, go open the door." We ask that only the teacher opens the door when somebody knocks at the door. But that's just little things that we do to keep students and ourselves safe too. Um, in this one, assist in selection of books, equipment, and other instructional materials. This basically has to do when we are reviewing curriculum. Every 3 to 4 years, we review curriculum, and we will ask a group of teachers to review from several samples that they have received in the classroom and to determine which one will be the best curriculum that will effectively address all the tics that we need to teach. Create effective classroom routines. Again, that has to do with the charms, has to do with your classroom rules. And it's just constant repetition, right? Every day. So the students will learn what routines they have to do. Okay, now let's look at communication. And on communication is establish and maintain open communication by conducting conference with parents, students, principal, and teachers. We also recommend that teachers constantly communicate with parents. Don't wait until the middle of the year when the student is failing to communicate with mom and dad. They need to know that the student is not effectively passing certain subject. The best way to communicate with parents, we use an agenda. Every student will receive an agenda and you can write little notes. Let's say the student is talking too much in class. You can write a little note for mom and dad. So they are aware of the situation. That way you don't have to wait until there is a parent meeting and you have all these notes, but the parent didn't know the child was misbehaving. So this is an effective way to communicate with parents. With principal is if you have any concerns about anything, my door is always open. You can come and talk to me and I will try to help you as much as I can or direct you to the person that can help you. With students, you need to communicate your expectations, your rules, and what you expect them to do. And you can also need to be able to communicate with your team leaders, right? Your teachers. No one is an island and we need all the people, right? I've seen some teachers that, oh, I'm teaching my way and I don't care what anybody else does. Gonna do it my way. That doesn't work here. We are a team, so we need to be on the same page. That is also helpful for the students. Maintain professional relationship with colleagues, students, parents, and community members. Always our demeanor has to be professional, right? Use effective communication skills to present information accurately and clearly. And this goes with our profession, right? We have to be able to present the information we are given accurately and clearly. Okay. Any questions so far? I know I've been covering a lot, but I want my no, I want my candidate teachers to be aware what they are getting themselves into. Like I said, it's better to be upfront.
Yes, I agree.
Professional growth and development. So And this is required that all staff, especially teachers, participate in staff development activities to improve job-related skills. Most of the staff developments are during our professional development days when the students are not present. Um, some of them might be in the afternoon, like during a faculty meeting, but not likely. Most of the time, like I said, is during our PD days. Keep informed of and complying with the state, district, and school regulations and policies for classroom teachers, what to do and what not to do. We're gonna cover that during PD days. Compile, maintain, and file all physical and computerized report records and other documents required. Um, and this is my recommendation for teachers. Make a file of every student, and you can keep in that file important stuff such as parent letters. If you have a conversation with, also, if you have any conversation you have with the parents, make a note of it. So you have that information documented. Document every contact you have with parents, whether good or bad, because during a parent meeting, that will help you. Any note you send home, documented. Any behavior issue with the student, documented and keep it on that file. Attend and participate in faculty meetings. Again, some of them might be in the afternoon after the students go home, but those shouldn't take long. I don't like to keep people longer than expected because I understand you have a life outside school. So department meetings, this will be the district meetings, and serve on staff committees as required. Again, we have several committees in our school. We have a ethics committee. We have a lead teachers committee. We also have a diversity and social committee. We don't make anybody be a part of this committee, but we strongly suggest that you try to join one committee. There's also the committee for extracurricular activities to plan activities and work with the PTA group to plan and prepare those activities. And you can join any. It shouldn't be taking too much of your time. And this is not going to be all year committees, maybe once or twice a year. My last one, and this is like I said, you probably will not have to deal with this much because of the grade levels. You're not gonna have to deal with teacher aides and parents. You're not gonna have to supervise them, but you might be asked to mentor a student teacher. So you will have to supervise them and guide them and help them, support them. And those are the responsibilities for the openings. Now let me talk to you about a little bit about the openings we have. I know you're aware of one. You were applying for the third grade science teacher, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We also have a second grade science, and we have a fourth grade reading openings that we're trying to fill. Because of your experience in science, if I were to choose you as one of our team members, it will be either the second grade or third grade position. Will you be willing with to work in any of those areas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I'd be fine with it.
and it will be teaching the subject that you like to.
Yes.
I still have to do two more interviews, two more candidates, but I like your responses. I think you will be a really good fit for the campus. You will help us with student achievement. And you seem like you are a well-prepared, well-experienced teacher. So you should hear something from me. Like I said, I have 2 more um, interviews that I have to conduct today, but you should hear something from me through email, probably tomorrow morning. Do you have any other questions for me?
I did have one more question. What is the usually what is the teacher student ratio on your campus?
Oh, yes, sorry. Normally, we are a small campus, so you shouldn't have more than 19 students in a classroom. Some teachers have 13 students in a classroom, so it depends, but it shouldn't be more than 19.
Okay.
How many students do you have in your previous classroom?
I had
You have how many?
21.
21? Okay, yeah, it shouldn't be more than 19.
Okay.
We're a pretty small campus. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming for this you coming for this interview. Um, if you don't have any more questions, you don't have any more questions for me?
No, ma'am.
Okay, well then thank you again. And just watch your email or my email. I will get in touch with you probably tomorrow morning.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Mhm. Bye.
Bye.